Welcome everybody to Sugar Geek Show episode 4.
Hello.
This is Dan. Hi, Liz is here too.
Yep.
Michelle is off today, so
Yeah.
we're going to try and do this without Michelle.
And I'm
just going to stand here with this phone.
There you go.
I'm going to direct and act.
Liz is going to be pointing at the two things. I hope it goes good, so.
I know. And, okay, yay. Thank you for saying hi, Ashley, so that I know that we're live. Let me get
I hope so much that this is the only part of our show. It's like we're not going to have, like, disconnects, hopefully. Hopefully we got that all worked out, so.
Yes, so I'll just leave this right here so I can just make sure that you're going to have to stand on this side.
Oh, jeez. Pushing me around, pushing me down the stairs.
So, I'm Liz, this is Dan.
Hello.
This is Sugar Geek Show Live, where we go over interesting, concepts and tutorials that a lot of cake decorators want to know how to do, they have questions about, and I'm the expert. And Dan is our newbie.
Yes.
So
I'm the expert at other things.
So what have you learned so far, Dan?
I learned how to pet a cat using a, what's that thing called? Like a metal spatula?
A spatula, yes.
Okay, so I used a spatula and I learned how to put frosting on a cake and learned how to cover a cake with fondant.
That's right.
We made...
What do you think was the hardest thing that you've learned so far?
Trying to use the Pro Froster.
That's a special tool.
I didn't know what I was doing for that. I guess it works really well, but I just didn't know what I was doing at the time.
So putting frosting on the cake.
I would say putting frosting on the cake's pretty
You did a really good job with the fondant.
Oh yeah, thanks.
If you want to see those episodes, they're on the Sugar Geek Show YouTube channel, episodes 1 through 3.
Yes.
So you can review. My favorite episode was when you exploded the chocolate all over.
That's right. That was last episode, right?
That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
So guess what we're doing today? You know what this is?
Poisons?
Pick your poison, Dan.
It's edible poison.
This is our poisons. So you are going to learn how to paint on a cake.
Oh, that sounds like something I might be good at.
Yeah, so Dan is actually an artist. He's pretty good at doing art, I would say.
Thanks.
Back before we were married, Dan wooed me with a portrait of myself.
Disconnected, I think.
As a robot. Is it? Alright, so back to learning to paint on a cake. So, something that's really popular right now with the cake trends, is like the floral hand-painted look.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, think to being on Pinterest and pinning all of these beautiful floral cakes. Oh wait, that's just me.
Right, I was like, where are you going with this? Yeah.
So, if you guys out there in Facebook land, you probably know what I'm talking about. It's usually like a flower print, but it's on a cake, right? So it seems seems really intimidating to paint on a cake, right? Because you're like, this is my cake, it's my precious, I worked really hard to cover it in fondant and I don't want to mess it up.
I'm pretty intimidated right now. Yeah.
Right, so I'm actually going to show you how we can practice on edible image paper.
Okay.
First, which is a great thing to do no matter what, is to practice your design first of all.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So I'm going to show you first how to do kind of like a simple floral hand-painted look using some edible materials. Let's talk a little bit about those edible materials.
Okay.
These are edible watercolors. You have to use the word edible, because otherwise it's just watercolors.
Otherwise
people are like,
just
what
using
is that?
Cobalt and whatever.
Yeah, they're just using poison.
Yeah.
So this is a recipe and a tutorial by Angela Nino of the Painted Box. She basically kind of brought watercolor into the world a couple years ago.
Edible watercolor.
Edible watercolor.
Yeah.
She made it a thing. So the way that you make this is you dissolve food color gel into Everclear or a very high proof alcohol, which is like a grain alcohol.
Okay.
This is what we use. This is 190 proof or 95% alcohol, which I don't know what the other 5% is. Just like air.
Filler.
I don't know. Like it's almost 100% alcohol.
It's grain proof, right?
It's very strong. No, it's not grain free. It's not like gluten free alcohol.
I thought I heard grain alcohol.
It's called grain alcohol. It says distilled from grain, so that's probably
that's why that's what the other 5% is probably.
Highly flammable, evaporates very quickly, so it's great for watercolor because it doesn't leave your page really wet.
Right, right.
So you combine this alcohol with the you combine the alcohol with the gel color, and it creates it sucks out all of the color, and it creates this really nice saturated watercolor.
Oh, okay.
And so I have a whole bunch of different colors here and everything. And then you can also take pro gels if you just need like a small amount, or if you're a procrastinator like me.
Okay.
You can take pro gels and just put like a tiny bit in a palette and mix it with a little bit of Everclear.
I thought this was like a little egg holder or something. You put your eggs and stand them upright.
When you're really hungry and you need a snack, you can make you can put some eggs here.
Yep.
So the pro gels work really good because there's a lot of various colors.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So if you, these you have to kind of mix yourself. I already have paint all over my hands.
Whoa.
So,
and you're wearing a white shirt.
I know. Oh, this is my new Sugar Geek Show shirt. You guys like it? Okay, so, and then the last thing we're going to talk about is making your own edible pens.
Oh. Do you eat the pen?
Yes, Dan.
So, it's so tasty.
This is called a Molotov Empty Pump Soft Liner 1mm brush tip. I got this at...
Whoops! Be careful, people.
This one has a little splatter effect on it. Did you get my shirt? No, okay.
Oh, thank goodness.
So this is a brush pen. It's empty. You buy it from Blick's or Art Supply Store.
Okay. I'll hold this up nice and close here.
And you fill it. That's probably like way too close.
You can read it, right?
Sure.
So you got this where? At an art supply store?
Oh yeah, that works really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got this at an art supply store. So you unscrew it. Okay. It's empty when you get it. And the idea is you can put your own ink in it. And so what I had tried to do was combining black food color gel with Everclear, and for some reason, whatever is in black food color gel, it just looks brown when you paint with it.
Oh, it has maybe like a brown base.
Yeah, something. Yeah. Or green.
Oh, yeah, right.
So it just is never like this really clean sort of black color. So this pen here is just straight black airbrush color.
Oh, okay.
So I'm using Americolor Super Black Airbrush color, and I just poured it into here.
Okay.
And I'm going to actually bring the camera down.
I really like markers. I really like using... I'm not a big brush person. I'm more of a pencil and marker type person.
Yeah?
So...
All right.
I could
get closer here. Closer. Whoa! Too close.
Going in! I'm going in. Cover me, Porkins.
It's also going to be kind of upside down, but it's okay. This way they can see really clearly, right?
Okay.
So I want to show this pen. I've had this ink and this pen for like...
decades.
2 years.
Oh, 2 years. I thought you were going to say like a week.
A long time. A very long time, right. So...
might as well be decades.
Yeah, and if the tip ever dries out, you just press down on this part right here. You push that in. And
see, and you get some nice cool ink blot features going on. I'm going to get you a paper towel.
There's paper towels right over in the bathroom there.
Okay.
Okay, so you can see that the ink is still very good. This actually might be the blue.
Yeah, it looks like it's a blue color.
Looks pretty blue. Yeah. I had a blue one and I had a black one.
Oh, okay.
But
nothing like showing off your new white shirt by playing with staining ink colors, right?
But you see, it's like a perfect kind of watercolor look. It sort of blooms out.
Yeah, it looks really nice. This will probably look like some sort of it'll have the hard edge that you get from watercolor, right?
Yes, but it is still, it's like really dark and it's kind of harsh looking all by itself. But it does work really well for going back over lines on fondant. Okay. So let's go ahead and show you some of those things.
Does this change? Does it take like over half an hour or an hour? Does the color change? Does it get brighter, or does it do anything like that?
No, it doesn't do anything like that.
Okay.
So here's another piece. This is the Photo Frost edible image paper.
Okay.
And I think people get really intimidated by like making flowers. They think it's really complicated. Okay. And I actually have a tutorial on Sugar Geek Show that talks about making really simple watercolor flowers. But
Okay.
I'm going to tell you, Dan, how to do it.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a couple different types of flowers. Getting a reference is always a good idea, right?
Okay, yeah.
So you kind of know what you're going for. But there's basically a few different types of flowers. There's like the rose, where you literally just make a C, and then another C,
Backwards C.
and then another C, and then another C.
And then you do a smiley face, and then you do a unibrow, and then you do 2 ears, and then you do a double chin, you do like a forehead chin.
And you see it kind of runs together, and it seems very simple and sort of sloppy, but that's actually exactly what you're going for. And then when you do smaller ones...
Is that supposed to look like a rose?
Yes, this is like a watercolor. You jerk. I was like, wow, Dan. Wow.
I could see that.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can do like little smaller ones.
Yep.
It's literally just, and I think people get scared about it running into each other. And that's the thing with watercolor is you want it to run. You want it to blend, right?
Yeah. Watercolor isn't necessarily a medium for perfectionists.
Right.
It's more a medium for artists that really like that ethereal kind of mythic look, right?
Yeah. So you could do that on the side of a cake, don't you think?
I really feel like I could do a bunch of C's and butts and things like you
C's
did.
and butts. All right, here's another one. Taking some yellow and just putting some dots in the middle.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
And you can come back in with another color to give it some definition. You see how it just sort of blends into itself?
Right. It's kind of like a wash, right?
Yeah. And then you can use the brush itself to make petals.
Oh. Whoops.
And then you drip over everything.
Yep. Well, that's you just got so excited.
I did. Right. I'm like trying to focus on my perfect petals here.
Yeah. I think I saw someone ask if you were doing more markers, do you do the Everclear method with the different colors, or do you do just the straight airbrush color?
Oops. I would, you could just use the straight airbrush color, but the thing with the airbrush color, it's very dark. Mm-hmm. Like with the black, that's great. You want it to be really dark, right? Yeah. But with, watercolors, you actually want them to be kind of light.
For the markers, right?
Yeah.
You would put the Everclear mixture with the gel into the marker.
Right, you could. If you wanted it to be an airbrush kind of look. A watercolor look, right?
Yeah.
So, but if you wanted it to be a really dark line, I would use straight Everclear.
I feel like these colors are getting more saturated as time goes by, like after they've dried fully, and they look really nice. Very slightly, but I feel like they got more vibrant.
Maybe it's just drying, you know?
Yeah.
So then you can come back in with some green and do some like little leaves.
Oh, okay.
I think that watercolor is the funnest thing to do because it's like it's not supposed to be perfect.
Yeah.
Right?
So if you were in a country that was still like Prohibition era where you can't get Everclear, like is there something like it that you could get? Just
go to the alcohol store.
Right, the liquor store.
Store, and just ask for grain alcohol. So just anything that has a really high alcohol content is going to be what you're going to want, right?
Right.
So this is when I'm adding leaves, I try to imagine that there's this invisible circle right in the middle of the flower and that everything radiates out from that circle. Mm-hmm. Right? So what you don't want to do is when you're making a flower is just have like a leaf going sideways, like next to it. It doesn't create a good flow,
it doesn't feel right. Yeah.
So you want to imagine that there's like these invisible, lines radiating out from the center of the flower. So if you just did a bunch of little, like a large flower, a small flower, and a couple of leaves, and just did that in little bunches all over the cake, you would have a floral painted cake.
Okay.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
You ready for a practice?
Sure.
You're scared?
Yeah. No, I'm not scared.
He's like, I got this.
I think I can do this. You showed me how to make a bunch of butts and C's and leaves.
It's the key to good flowers is butts and C's.
Yep, okay.
I'm going to look and see if there are any questions here.
Now, if I'm using like a color, can I just dip my brush into a different color?
They will mix a little bit. So
okay.
If you want, different brushes, here's a fine-tipped brush, our lovely fine-tipped brush there. And I'll get a couple more brushes. A couple are a little small. Look at that. That's so nice.
Yeah.
I actually like that little bit of yellow in there.
Yeah, I thought it might look nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I'm going to do it again.
Do another one.
Barbie Garcia wants to know, how long do watercolors last in the jars? They're pretty much forever. Alcohol doesn't go bad. It's self-preserving. It just dries out eventually.
All right.
How are you doing?
Pretty good. I'm just trying to imagine my flowers the way that they're going.
This is looking great.
So right, I'm just trying to get them so that they're kind of like pointing this way, I guess.
Can you paint on buttercream the same as you paint on fondant? If it's crusting buttercream, you can. Yes, you can.
Which one of these was my green? Is it this one?
Yep, that's green.
Okay. All right. Let's see here.
That looks so nice. Yours looks better than mine.
Try not to get my hand in here.
You've got nice line quality.
Oh, thanks.
You're blocking the camera, though.
Yeah, I know. I
Rotate.
Well, I just needed to get that leaf down.
Okay.
Oh, you took away my green.
There you go.
All right.
As usual.
Let's put it back where it was.
As usual, Dan is much better at everything.
Oh, shoot.
There you go. Those are berries.
So if you did this, how would you fix it, right? Like you would actually, if I had this dot here, I could maybe work this in.
Yeah. You would just work it into it. You can't really remove it once it's on there. It's like solid color.
Right.
So I think that's what's a little bit nerve-wracking for people, is the idea that it's like permanent.
I'm trying real hard to not get my hand in this shot.
So you kind of have some leaves that are just sort of like by themselves. You want to put leaves in some little groups too. So maybe do like another bigger one there.
Calm down.
Looks pretty good though. I'm just giving you suggestions.
Okay. Well, that's super helpful, right?
Another thing you can do. Where's the?
Don't take my brush.
I want to show.
Okay, you got a whole sheet that you got to do yourself. I can't even get 5 flowers out.
Okay, all right. I'll just let you do your thing.
Just tell me. Tell me what you want me to do.
Oh my goodness, so funny.
All right. Okay. So, what did you want to do?
I just wanted to show you another element that you can add into your designs, which is like a swirl.
Okay.
So you have sort of this beautiful line of flowers and leaves.
Yeah.
You can come out like this and put in a swirl. Like you can't talk though while you do it.
It takes a lot of concentration to make a swirl, right?
And you can put some little dots on there, or you can have leaves coming off. It's like or make it into like a fern.
This reminds me of art class with my grandma. She would take the brush out of my hand and paint an entire painting.
Well, how else am I
And then
supposed
she
to
would
demo?
say, "Good job.
It's a demo, Dan.
You're such a good artist, Dan. You draw paintings, or you paint paintings just like I do."
I really love how the center of your rose is yellow in the middle and it gets lighter.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice little gradient there.
Yeah. Dan's not a swirl kind of guy.
This would be a gun. This would be a gun right here, and it would have arrows and spikes coming off of it. Right?
Okay. All right, so we'll let Dan continue to move on, or you continue painting.
Okay.
I'm just going to lift up the camera here so I can talk for a second. Woo! You keep going. Another thing that you can do is you can obviously print out floral prints. I have a weird color combination here. My black edible food color in my edible printer ran out, and I didn't know that until like 5 minutes before we were starting the show, so I couldn't refill it. But this is an example of one that I did before, and this is like a galaxy. So you want to use your edible printer for things that are a little bit difficult to hand paint. Like this is a little intimidating. It's a little bit detailed.
Oh yeah.
So these flowers are from the Mexican jewel-toned wedding cake. So if you're a member of Sugar Geek Show, you can get these flowers and arrange them and put them. I was trying to put it on a black background, but obviously my black is out, so that didn't work very well. And then this is a galaxy watercolor image that I downloaded and printed onto edible paper, and then you can peel these off the backs very easily. I think this might be the icing images. one.
Okay.
And so this one's a little bit thicker and a little bit more heavy duty. And then you can apply it to the side of your cake with a little bit of piping gel. You don't want to use water because it makes it bubble up. And then just trim off the edge there and just continue to wrap it all the way around. You can do the same thing with the floral prints, wrap it around. People tend to freak out about the idea that there's going to be a seam. Regular clients don't notice that kind of stuff. I do suggest you cover your cake in fondant or buttercream or whatever, and then just, apply that over the top. So that works really well. Another thing you can do is, there's so many like coloring pages these days, coloring books.
Oh yeah.
So you can print,
I was all into my flower.
I know, you're doing a really good job. I'm excited to show them. So you can take coloring pages, and like the dessert ones or whatever, and you can print them out on edible paper and use this like a coloring book.
That looks kind of like what those tattoo artists do before they actually go.
So you can just color in the lines and things, and it's already on edible paper. It's already an edible image, and then cut this out and put it on like a cookie, or you can make it into a topper, and that's kind of a really fun sort of way to do that. Speaking of coloring books, my friend just came out with this buttercream floral wreath inspired coloring book, and it's called Flower Wreaths by Olga Zaitseva. I've never said that out loud before.
Oh yeah, Olga
Zaitseva, and it has some really beautiful cake inspired coloring books. So this would make a really great gift for like a cake decorator.
Right.
So it's
or just anyone that likes flowers.
You could literally color this with the edible food coloring.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so some really little closer up picture of some of these in there. Very nice. And you can get this on Amazon if you're interested in some cake themed coloring books, which I really love. I let Avalon play with them because she really likes them. Okay. All right, you guys want to?
I think I'm done.
You want to see what Dan did?
Okay. Just playing around here. It's kind of fun how you can just kind of abstractly make these flowers,
that
just
looks
from
amazing.
Different dots and stuff.
You did a really good job. I love your little whatever these are.
Yeah. And I am a little pink. I'm a little sunburnt.
Yeah, we went to the beach this weekend, so we're both a little bit sunburnt.
I'm extra crispy.
One of us is wearing makeup and one of us is not. So, all right, Dan, do you want to try painting on an actual cake?
I think so. I think that'd be fun.
Okay. So
I let this one really run together, and I think it turned out pretty good. So.
Okay, so I'm going to just get a little bit closer to our cake here.
Okay.
And I'm going to have you come around on this side.
Okay, over here?
Yes.
And then just paint on this side, right?
That's right.
Okay. All right, just the same thing that I just did?
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
Oh, all the options. It's hard to think. What do I want to do?
Using the same sort of techniques and stuff that you just...
Okay, so I'm going to just kind of get a little bit lower here so that I can kind of see a little bit more what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And then I'm just going to... I'm going in!
Do it, Dan. Explain what your thought process is here for success.
So my thought process is this. I'm going to start with the center of the rose, and I know that leaves of the rose, like you start with the center and then the leaves kind of come out and they kind of fan open. Mm-hmm. So like the center leaves are straight up, and as you get further out, the leaves open up more and more. So that's just what I'm trying to do here. I'm just trying to kind of show that.
A real flower.
Yeah. And then I'm just going to grab my green over here.
All right. Do you need a different color? You want a different paintbrush for green? You got it?
No, yeah, I'll just use this one.
Okay.
Just like I was doing.
Beautiful.
All right. Whoops.
Did you already drip?
I didn't drip. I just screwed up with my leaf shape here.
Nah.
So, a little hard to get that going there.
Radiating out from the center.
Yep.
So, yeah, this is, I know kind of a simple concept, but I didn't want to overcomplicate it with too much information. So if you guys have any specific questions about painting on fondant or buttercream or sugar sheets or whatever, now is the time to ask, because I am useless right now while Dan is making art.
Liz is so upset that she doesn't have a paintbrush in her hand right now.
So. There's no room for me. Oh, I love you. How you put those leaves. It looks really nice.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
So you got one. Now how are you gonna do the next one?
I'm gonna do some dots, just like this. I'm gonna try to get smaller as I'm going up, and then I'm gonna do another one this way.
The best types of brush to use is actually watercolor brushes, which makes sense if you think about it.
That makes sense.
So, or just, big round brushes. These types of brushes here, this is called a round brush. It's got some like thickness to it and a little point. And what it does is it holds a lot of liquid. So as you're painting, your paintbrush doesn't dry out or anything. So yeah. Food gel mixed with vodka, yeah. Paint to alcohol. The more food color you have in the Everclear, the darker the color will be. So hopefully that makes sense. So if you want like a very pale pink, you would just add less color to the alcohol.
Oop, and I really went in hard with this one.
I'm gonna have to move this so that
this one's gonna drip. Oh, I'm trying to save it.
Drip.
I'm trying to save it.
Just bring in more petals.
Yep, I think I saved it.
But I'm gonna be able to fix that, and I'll show you how.
Okay.
So
I actually is this teal?
Do some more roses.
I actually want to do like a different colored.
You're gonna go
leaf.
whoa. Oh, different colored leaf. I'm like, you're just gonna make a teal rose. You can do that. That's not part of the color.
That'd be kind of cool.
Can we make colors with extract instead of alcohol? Yes, you can use extract instead of alcohol, but just so you know, alcohol is in extract. So you might as well just use alcohol. I have tried using vodka, worked okay. Is it less drippy once you paint with Everclear? Yes, Everclear evaporates extremely fast, and vodka has quite a bit of water left in it, and that's why you want to use a really high proof green alcohol, is because it doesn't get drippy and stay wet. And I need you to come over this way so that people can actually see. So
which way?
Towards the way that I just turned the cake. So
this way?
Yeah. Just move your body.
Okay.
Move it back down. Just so that people can see what you're doing.
Okay. Is this better?
Yep. You got to use those sound effects.
Yeah, the sound effects help. I mean, like I was watching this podcast by this professional artist, or not a podcast, but he was showing himself painting, and he was like, it really helps to make the expression of the face that you're trying to paint. And he's like, it's really hard if you're making an angry face for like 18 hours, you know? But it's just funny to see even like the people that are working on like crazy stuff. Like this guy did the posters for the Logan movie. And he was like working on Logan, and he was like, I have to be angry. Like, so that was kind of funny.
Yes, you can use extract instead of Everclear, but I'm just saying that it's not gonna be quite the same. So you want to really use a grain alcohol, because extract has quite a bit of things that are not alcohol in it. Okay, I'm gonna stop you there, Dan, so that I can show the next portion.
All right, sounds good.
So I go ahead and scooch out of the way.
Okay.
So what you can do when you have like your color down is you can come back in with your pen, your lovely paint pen here.
Okay.
Get some of these out of the way. And you can add detail this way.
Oh, okay. So this is kind of like that like watercolor, but like with the ink line over it kind of look, right?
Exactly. So you can come back in and put some detail in the leaves. Again, we're not trying to be too careful.
Yep.
But
not being precious.
You could paint this whole thing super fast.
Yeah.
If you
I didn't even have an idea of what I was doing, and I feel like it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
So.
And even if you're even like super nervous, you could just like literally make blobs like this. Right? And you're like, okay, Liz.
So
sure.
We'll see what she does to fix this.
And this is almost dry. So that's kind of the benefit of the Everclear.
Oh, wow.
Is it dries super fast, right?
Okay.
And then you can come in and put in your little lines.
I just saw someone asking, what type of marker is this? This is a marker that you can get at art supply stores. We got these at Blick's.
This is called a Molotow empty pump soft liner, 1 millimeter brush tip, and it comes empty. So you just literally fill it with black airbrush color, and it becomes an edible pen.
Yep.
And it's just a little bit easier for doing these outlines because you're not constantly dipping your brush, so you don't get those drips, and you can get really nice fine lines.
This would also be a way to do like a comic book design, right?
You could,
if you wanted to draw like either like pow, bang, like words on there
right.
with like a shape, or
if you want to do hand lettering, so if you wanted to go like
like a graffiti style design, you could always do that too.
I was thinking cursive, but
yeah, that looks great. It's funny how we both thought of different things. I immediately thought of graffiti, and you thought of like this nice clean cursive design.
Yes. So that's sort of our little thing here.
Yeah.
I like the blotchy paint look with the outlines over it. But if you want something that's a little bit more softer and watercolory, you can leave off the blotchy lines. You want to try some blotchy flowers?
Yeah, sure, I'll do that.
Show me what you got, Dan.
Okay. Saw someone asking to like the actual spelling of this, and it's Molotow. All right. So I'm gonna do. I'm not very well versed with flowers. I'll just do these lilies over here. I'll just try to do them. Trying to save it.
Just don't be careful. I think that's the key. Cat in a hat cake. It would be perfect for a cat in a hat cake. Easy to clean. I do not clean this pen. I just put the ink in there, and it's been in there for years. I just refill it as it runs out.
Okay. How long do I have to wait here? It looks like it's almost dry. Is it okay if you go into it when it's wet?
Go for it.
Okay. Here we go. Whoop. I used to be left-handed as a kid, and then I became right-handed when I was like 3 years old. And so I have to, like, when I draw and stuff, I have to put my hand on the thing I'm drawing. So it's kind of difficult for me to just like.
Sounds like you're the only one. You're not the only one who likes to make sound effects.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Let's do the little stamens if we can. Do they have different sizes of these pens, like a thin pen?
They do. They have tons. I mean, think about it. This is an artist's tool. So artists love different sizes of pens and different tips. And I don't suggest using like kind of the hard tips. Like only use the brush tips, because when you're painting on fondant, I mean, if you tried to use one of the hard tip pens, then it would just dig into the.
Yeah, you don't want to destroy your cake, right?
The pens do not clog up. It's almost like a water pen. So I just store them brush side down so that the liquid is constantly flowing into the tip.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. I don't do other colors for the pens. I've always just used brushes because the pens are kind of expensive. I think they're like, $4 or $5 a pen. And
at least.
Yeah, and really the black is the only one that I really need to be super fine tipped, but you could.
Trying to be so fine tipped.
Oh yeah, you can absolutely. Here, use a more fine tipped brush.
Okay.
Our lovely fine tipped brush.
Oh, okay. Do I need to dip this?
Yeah, here. Let me just use some straight. There you go.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so while you're doing that, I am going to start prepping some washes using oh, you need to use that. Okay.
You just gave it to me.
I know. All right, I'm going to bring you guys over. Do you remember doing washes in school, Dan?
Yes, I do. I remember them being somewhat difficult the very first couple times you do them, but I remember them being something that you could get pretty good at pretty fast.
Right. So, for those of you who haven't gone to graphic design school with Dan and I, we used to have these projects in illustration class that were called washes. And it was to help you to understand how to do gradations of color. And we used India ink, which is basically black airbrush color, right? And then you dilute it down in various shades of opacity to put in your shadows when you're painting things. So we're gonna show you real quick.
Okay.
I have to steal this a little bit.
That's okay. I'm almost done with my design. I'm gonna switch over here.
All right. So I'm gonna put some solid black. Zoom in here a little bit. Get this out of the way. I'm gonna put some solid black airbrush color straight into the little palette here, and then I'm gonna get some Everclear. Which would basically be our water, right?
Okay, right, yeah.
I'm gonna steal one of these droppers. These beautiful glass bottles right here were a gift from my friend Danette. After I went and teached in Texas with her, she sent me all of these beautiful bottles, and I just love them. It makes me feel like I'm a mad scientist. I'm gonna wash this out really quick.
Okay.
Interchange the masses then.
Okay. So, I think what she's gonna do is she's gonna create like a pure black color and then like a watered down color, and then, well, we'll see how she does it, but I think she's gonna go from like the watered down to the black, or the black to the watered down, creating a gradient effect, right?
Right. So, got a little bit of Everclear here, and a little bit of the color.
You're making such a mess.
No, I'm not. Crazy. But you can see how this is kind of like a greeny color.
Yeah, it's got like a, yeah.
It has a weird, the Everclear has a weird effect on the black, and brings out like the undertone. So we're gonna have sort of like a greenish wash, I suppose.
Okay.
All right. Actually, I'm gonna paint on fondant.
Okay.
It's a little bit more. It doesn't like spread as much on fondant.
Mm-hmm.
So let's, those cakes that are very popular right now that are like a face on the front of the cake, and then they have like flowers in the hair or something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so let's kind of do something like that here.
Okay, so you're starting out with the most diluted one?
Yes, and it's actually still pretty dark. These colors are all messed up. It's fine. This is fine. All right, so I can paint and you can paint, and we have pretty artistic talent. But let's say if you can't paint, right? Okay. So let me grab one of these things here. This is Martha Stewart. And the way that I made this portrait was I actually printed out her face the size that I wanted it to be, and then I traced around the outline shape of her face, so at least I had that part right.
Okay.
And then I kind of pressed into the paper where her eyes and her nose and her mouth was.
So you had your printout like on top of this, right?
Yes, yeah, okay. And then I traced it. So that's one way of getting that. But if you are just freehanding it, basically what you want to do is start out with a very light layer of color.
And Michelangelo did that when he was doing the Sistine Chapel ceiling, right?
What?
He had drawings that he made, and he traced them into the ceiling.
Oh, really?
With a paintbrush. Yeah. So, like, if you ever feel like this is cheating, Michelangelo did it. So it's not cheating. It's hard enough just painting something.
If it's good enough for Michelangelo, it's good enough for me.
Right.
Okay, so I have pink because there was pink on my brush, and I didn't wash it out.
So what are you doing right now?
I'm just kind of blocking in my shadows with a very light layer of color.
Okay.
Right? Not really caring so much about getting defined shapes.
So if you had like a photo reference, like a picture, you would want to have your picture sitting right here and be focusing on like the shadows and stuff. Right.
And I am trying to get my edges to be fairly smooth. So I'm coming in with just pure Everclear around the edges to blend that towards the center.
Okay.
To kind of block out my color. and then you're going to start building up with more colors, right?
Okay.
So I think I'm going to be starting in with green now.
We'll see. So if this is like super intimidating, is there any tips that you can give for someone that's like the very first time that they're doing this?
Yeah, definitely practice. Don't try and get too detailed. I think when you can just do something very, very simple and people get really impressed.
Yeah.
You know, like don't feel like you have to get it absolutely perfect. And it's hand painted, you know, so let it be imperfect, I guess.
Okay. My advice would be just think of this as recipes. Like the front of a person's face that you're drawing, that's like one recipe. And you practice that several times and then you can get good at that. Like people get so intimidated, they're like, I have to draw all the different poses of the hands, right? Mm-hmm. Hands can do so many things. It's like just practice one pose of a hand.
Right.
And do it like 20, 30, 40 times until it looks pretty good.
I definitely have a recipe for the face.
Yeah.
Like I usually paint at a 3/4 view, and because the nose is pretty easy to paint at a 3/4 view.
Right.
And I always paint the upper lip dark, like a solid color to represent like the shadow, and then I do a little line underneath to represent the lower lip.
So this is the lower lip, but you don't paint it at this stage when you're doing the shadows. You paint below the lower lip and you paint the upper lip.
Right. And so I am just literally using my medium gray. Okay. And I'm just layering up color. Layering and layering and layering. So I think that one of the mistakes people make is that they come in with like a dark color.
They go ham right away.
Right away, you know. So you want to just layer up your colors and don't worry about these, you know, painterly lines and stuff. Mm-hmm. If you wanted to have no lines, I would probably do something that is like airbrushing, which really takes a lot of skill.
Right, because you have to mask out those areas and all that stuff. Yeah.
Or you could, you know, do an edible image. So those are kind of your options for on top of something that's like, what is this? Well, this is edible, so it's not like paper, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm just slowly. I've also just been using the same brush over and over again because I'm trying not to get too detailed. Dan knows the problem with that, right?
Oh yeah. I'm definitely a detailer.
He gets too detailed too fast.
Yeah.
So I'm just putting in layers. I'm also going way faster than I normally would. So
that's fine.
Because I always feel pressure, like, oh god, it's gonna get boring.
It's fun to watch it build up. So you brought the shadow down from like the eyebrow straight down into the nose, right?
I did, yeah. And that's just, you know, kind of my, like I said, my own style of painting. And when you practice painting, you sort of, like you said, you come up with these recipes of what looks good to you and what you want, how you like. I basically am drawing right now how I've drawn my entire life. Mm-hmm. You know?
Right.
It's like I'm just not even thinking about it. So
if you had to put this cake back into the fridge after you did the watercolor, would it beat up and would it ruin the watercolor?
Nope, it'd be totally fine because you're using the alcohol. It evaporates very quickly and then it's gone.
Yeah. So, Christy, when I first started drawing, all of my drawings looked like turds. And it's just a matter of, I mean, it's like making a cake, right? Like the first cake that you make, it might be good, it might be bad, but the more you do it, the better you get. So, it's like Jimi Hendrix didn't start out as the greatest guitarist in the world. Right. He started out being pretty bad at guitar, but he just practiced a lot. So. Right.
So now I'm just putting in kind of a light wash of hair color, which is green. Such a weird color combination from the leftover flower colors.
Yeah.
But so I'll show you though that why we're doing it this way. This is called underpainting.
Okay.
So Dan knows what underpainting is.
You don't do personal classes anymore, right?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
We have an online school.
Right.
That's where all the classes are. So I'm just coming back in with some more darkness for the eyes and the eyebrows.
So if you took a cake out of the fridge and it did have condensation on it, this person's asking, they said that the refrigerated fondant cakes they get the condensation on them, which takes them out, and they appear wet for quite a while until the air dries it again.
Yep, that's normal.
And that won't ruin...
Nope. You just, if you're really concerned about it, just put it in front of a fan until it fully dries.
Okay.
And it, depending on how much humidity you have in the room, will be how fast it dries. And just don't touch it.
Cool.
As long as you don't touch it, it won't be harmed at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm gonna, like, I have my sad sort of like I'm depressed and it's raining sort of portrait happy here.
She looks like one of those people on the pill commercials. It's like, try Zoloft.
Do you suffer from depression? Yeah, she's a little bit sad, but it's a demonstration, right?
Yep.
So now I'm going to come in with my brush that I had, my little fine-tipped brush, and I can put in some little finer details. I know this is going to sort of block you, and I apologize.
How dare you be right-handed?
I know. This is perpetually the problem with doing tutorials too for Sugar Geek Show.
Yeah. Thanks for all the shares, everyone. Really appreciate it.
That's so nice. So you can see that this doesn't bleed at all. Oh, I'm like literally just blocking the eye 100%. So you can see that it doesn't bleed like the watercolor does. So you can come in and put in these very, very fine details. But you have all of this shadow from the watercolor wash.
Right, right.
That gives it life. And I think what people will try to do is they actually think they need to put in the lines first and then come in and do shadow. And it's actually the other way around.
Right,
you paint
right.
all of your shadow and undertones first, and then you come in with details.
This is starting to look like an anime version of the Mona Lisa. But she has eyebrows.
I know, I'm going to make her smiling now.
There you go.
Mona Lisa. And I'm going to put in this line here for the nose. There it is. She's a little bit happier now.
There you go.
There you go.
How did you make it slightly happier?
I just put a little bit more of an upturn in the corner of her mouth.
And you kind of defined that little cheek area right there?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, this is fun too. You can come in with like some really just like solid, let me grab the right cap, some solid color. So if you wanted to be redhead or, you know, whatever color. And you can put in some more detail in the hair as well.
Oh, okay.
Following, I think people struggle with hair because they don't understand how hair works. Hair, you know, goes in a direction, right? So you don't just do lines all willy-nilly. You follow the direction of the hair.
And you're trying to group shapes, right?
Right, yeah. Right. It's not, you're not drawing every single little hair. You're defining groups of hair.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Is there white out there that you can put, like, over the top of this?
Absolutely, and I'm going to show you that in just a
Oh,
second.
man.
I know.
You got so many tricks.
I do have tricks.
Got all the tricks.
That's me. Tricky.
Trickster.
So you know what you could do even is you could like make her hair like it's the stars. She could have like a space hair.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah. So let's do that. I'm going to grab a bigger brush. That sounds fun.
Okay. So are you actually going to make her hair into the stars?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm very interested to see how you're going to do this because you already painted her hair.
I did. So I'm going to actually come in with a little bit of pink.
Okay.
That. And some...
You ruined it!
Blue.
It's a happy accident, right?
Right. If anybody asks, I did it on purpose.
I'm going to put a happy tree right there.
So I literally just came in the areas that didn't have a lot of definition to them.
Okay. And there's no wrong way to do this? I'm guessing.
I don't
know. The way you're putting down the color. Are you just trying to do like globs of color?
So you probably don't want to put a glob right in her forehead though. You just want to kind of overlap, right?
Okay.
So it runs together.
Wow. Well, that's looking really cool. I didn't know. I thought that was going to look terrible. But
damn.
I'm just kidding. I thought it's actually looking really good.
I only have one spot of pink though. And what's the rule about color, Dan?
Don't spatter it all over your drawing.
No. If you do something in one spot, you have to do it in another.
Oh, right,
balance.
because you have to have continuity in your colors. If you use one color in one spot and that's it, it draws a lot of attention to it.
Right.
If you don't want that, it's going to make it look bad.
Right, I'm going to come back in with a little bit of my light pink.
It's also cool to see that, like, your face looked pretty dark, but because you put all these dark colors around your face, now it actually looks pretty light.
I think that's what the problem is people get so afraid of putting down actual color because they're afraid they're going to overdo it. But you just have to layer up semi-transparent shades.
Okay.
You know, and to get your shades in there.
Yeah.
And obviously the longer you take and the more shades you build up, the better it's going to be.
I kind of like how this is like running down.
I know, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
The dripping down the side.
Yeah, I like that.
Let's do more of that on purpose.
Okay. So you're just going to put like a lot of color right at the edge, because kind of like what you would do with a drip cake, right?
Yeah. It's like a kind of a cool, happy accident.
Yeah.
Doing like a portrait cake on the top, and then it like drips down the side.
Right.
This will go viral, and then people will be like,
I want my face on the top of a cake.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Good observation, Dan.
Yeah.
So this would be a great like birthday cake.
Right,
for somebody to paint their portrait on top, and then
you eat their face.
Or they would eat their own face.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, these are the Angela Nino colors.
Yes.
The watercolors,
Yep.
edible watercolor.
Yep.
There's a YouTube video on YouTube from Angela Nino doing the edible watercolors.
Yep.
And it's also on Sugar Geek Show. It's a free tutorial.
It's not her own color brand, it's her recipe.
Right.
So she's the one who showed me how to do this. So then the last thing I'm going to do is come in with some white. This is the Edible Art Decorative Paints. It's actually made for painting on chocolate. So you're still able to wash your paintbrushes with water.
Okay.
So they're water soluble, but they're very, very opaque, right?
Okay.
So meaning you can put like
you can't see through them very well.
Right. You can put a highlight. I'm going to drip and mess it all up.
You're actually using your pinky to steady your hand when you're doing this,
I do that very often.
That's a trick. I'll have to do that.
Put my pinky down.
Yeah.
Put a little highlight on her.
That's a good trick.
Lip there. Put a little highlight on her lower eyes. I actually used to do portraits for a living with charcoal way back in the day.
Oh, okay.
And I really enjoyed doing that. My favorite part was always putting the highlights in.
Everyone's asking for a link, please. What's that?
What? What link?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know. All right. That's our demo on painting cakes.
That looks pretty good.
Yeah, we kept it to an hour this time.
Yeah.
Yay! Go us. And Dan did a great job with his flowers. And Liz did a great job, as usual, with everything else.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I really like the idea of having this Martha Stewart here.
She's just watching us.
Yeah. She's like, it's a good thing. Right?
Look at this mess we made. I love this. I'm going to, mount this on the wall.
Oh.
You definitely want to wait for this to dry, though.
Yeah, and, put down anything protective, you know?
Yeah.
We were just like, we're doing it.
I know. This is happening.
Yeah, it's fun. But, yeah, I like it a lot. That's a really cool idea.
Right. So that's our little live today on hand painting on cakes. Hopefully you had a lot of fun. I did.
I did, too, yeah.
Did you learn anything?
Well, I actually really felt pretty good about this. I mean, I've never done this before, and I haven't drawn in a while. So, really, on, cakes or whatever, you know what I mean? I've drawn on my computer, but not anything like this.
And it is a little nerve-wracking because it's permanent, right? It's
right,
not like a computer where you can go back and erase it. So.
But all you need to do is draw butts, and then you just put them together.
Seeds.
And then you do the other butts, you know, and it looks really good, so.
Yeah, I think I'm going to put some stars on here after it's done drying.
Right, yeah, it'll look great.
Okay, well that's it, guys.
Cool.
Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week at 1 o'clock Pacific. And I have no idea. Oh wait, I do know what we're doing.
Oh.
I'll give you one hint. Sprinkles.
Sprinkles?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so you're definitely going to want to tune into that.
That sounds good.
Okay, thanks so much for watching, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.